I think setting clear, realistic financial goals and creating a plan to achieve them can also help to reduce anxiety, because now you feel that you are taking control and you're doing something about it, it gives you direction. But additionally, Obakeng, I think practicing gratitude for what money allows you to do rather than focusing solely on what you lack can also shift your mindset to a more healthier, more positive relationship with money. By saving and possibly investing money earned from part-time jobs, teenagers, young adults can start to understand the concept of compound interest and delayed gratification, because the world at the moment is screaming at you saying, you deserve this, and you should buy it now. And you can try and avoid those kind of traps that is fundamental to your ability to build wealth over the long term. And I think these early experiences not only help in developing a sense of financial independence, but it also, again, lays the foundation for future financial planning and goal setting. Understanding the difference between something you really need versus something you just want is a fundamental aspect of financial literacy. And if you, as somebody that's still young, can grasp that, it can significantly contribute to your financial success later on in life. Needs are essential for survival and well-being, like food or shelter or healthcare expenses, while wants are non-essential items, the luxuries or services that enhance comfort or pleasure and doesn't necessarily give you that lasting effect.
The GroundBreakers, Mondays to Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. on TUTFM.
Welcome back from a very quick break. It's a Wednesday. This is Plug a Graduate. Please sit tight as we sit down and have a conversation with Johan Gouws, who is the head of PPS Wealth Advisory. Will be sharing with us valuable insight on achieving financial security and living a purposeful life. Johan will discuss the importance of being intentional with your finances, regardless of your age or current financial situation. He will also explore how unexpected life events can expose financial vulnerabilities, particularly for those without a comprehensive financial plan, and how this can have a long-lasting effect on personal wealth and aspirations. In this conversation, Johan will guide you through practical self-reflection checkpoints designed to help avoid financial catastrophe and successfully navigate economic challenges. He'll also provide actionable advice for every stage of life, offering tips on building a solid financial plan, understanding your money personality, and maximizing wealth potential. Whether the listener at home choosing to work with a financial advisor or managing your finance independently, Johan's principles are sure to enhance your financial goals, living a meaningful life and a lasting legacy. And of course, this conversation is happening here on Plug a Graduate, which is actually the program that aims to revolutionize career prospects for graduates who are actively seeking employment by offering a dynamic platform where they can connect with potential employers, mentors, and opportunities. The show promises to provide invaluable insight, practical skills, and real-time job opportunities, making it a must-listen for graduates navigating the competitive job market. Whether you are a recent graduate, seasoned job seeker, or aspiring entrepreneur, tuning onto this show guarantees to be a game changer for your career journey. And of course, we are joined by Johan Gouws, who's on the line now to us. He's actually even written a book, and I think that's where we should start. Johan, thank you so much. Let's hope you're able to hear me. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Obakeng. Great to be with you on the show.
Let's start with the book. I know we have a very interesting conversation. It's going to be a long conversation, but let's start then with a book that you have written.
Yeah, so I hope that my connection is good. Yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
maybe
it's clear.
Okay, great. So maybe just to say that, yeah, it was about a month ago that my book was released. It's called Your Ultimate Personal Finance Guide. That was published through Penguin. And yeah, it's been a 3-year journey to get the book done, and it's based on all my experience over the years in different areas of the financial services industry. And I'll really call it
Yes.
a guide rather than a book. It's not something that you read from front to end. You can just use it for easy reference purposes. It is available through exclusive books. It's also available online through Take a Lot or Loot, and you can also even buy
Yes.
electronic copies through Amazon. So yeah, it's just a book that helps people, to empower people to take more control over their personal finances, and also to maybe have a better relationship with their financial advisor.
Right. It sounds so unputdownable. How much is the copy before we get into the meat of our conversation here, Johan?
Yeah, so if you go to exclusive books, you'll pretty much pay 400, just around about 400 rand. It is quite a comprehensive book. It's got close to 400 pages. And then if you go online on
Yeah.
Loot, I think you can even get it for just under 300 rand. I don't know what the shipping costs would be, but that's typically what you're looking at.
Right. And today we are going to be talking achieving financial security and living a purposeful life. Johan, let's talk about a money journey. What does the term really mean, and why is it important for people to understand where they are on their journey?
Yeah, Obakeng, this is very important. You know, we are all on a journey. Doesn't matter if it's our career or our relationships. We're also on a money journey, and it means that you
Yeah.
will go through various stages of your life, and in each of those stages, you will have different challenges. You will have different needs. And it basically will change the way in which you save, invest, or spend your money, depending on what your expenditure might look like as a household, for example, right? So
Yeah.
it's also important to know where you are on your journey, so that you know that you prioritize your financial affairs correctly, and you can identify opportunities for growth or areas of where you need to improve, so that you can make sure that you're on
Yeah.
track to achieve your long-term financial security goals, and live a meaningful life.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
emphasize the importance
you
of being
emphasize the importance of being intentional with finances. Could you elaborate on what that looks like in practice?
Yeah, I mean, being intentional with your finances just means that you make more conscious decisions about how you manage your money, rather than just allowing external factors to dictate your financial choices. So you can either allow life just to happen to you, or you take a bit more control. So it
Yeah.
involves setting clear financial goals and timelines, having maybe a budget in place that is a control mechanism, and then regularly reviewing where you are in terms of your financial situation. So it also means understanding what is your approach when it comes to managing your money, and how it influences your financial decisions. So I think by being more intentional, you just more in control of your financial destiny, which increases
Yeah.
your chances of achieving your goals, and the vision for your life.
Right. Unexpected life events, though, can really disrupt even the best laid financial plan here, Johan. What are some of the common vulnerability people face, and how can they prepare for them?
Well, but King, I mean, this is to a large extent why I wrote the book, because, we go back to when COVID happened. Nobody saw it coming. And I
Yeah.
think if you look at what happened through COVID, people became more aware of the fact that, that life is actually very precious. There was people that lost their jobs, their income. There was the cost of living that just increased also with
Yeah.
the war in Ukraine and all of that. So I looked at all of this, and I was looking at what I will call the financial tsunami that basically hit households, which they didn't see coming. And the
Yeah.
idea was to say, how can you be more prepared not to be so exposed to events like that? So I think common
Yeah.
vulnerabilities typically would be events like that. It could be a job loss under the difficult economic situation we're facing now. It could be health issues, economic downturns. It could be just something that happens at home where you need to have a major repair that you need to spend money on.
Yeah.
So I think the key thing
Yeah.
is just to have a comprehensive financial plan that includes an emergency fund, that provides, and also have the right insurance in place, and also a good investment, diversified investment portfolio. And then you must just regularly review these kind of things and update your plan to make sure that you are as fit as you can and be in a position where you can manage through these unforeseen events.
Yeah, self-reflection here seems to play a big role in managing finances effectively. What are some of the key self-reflection checkpoints you recommend, Johan?
Yeah, I mean, as we go through life, we pick up maybe patterns where we keep on making the same mistakes. So I think it's important that every now and again you just take stock of where you are, your financial habits, the decisions, and your overall strategy. So I think, first of all, you will most probably just have to say, well, listen, how am I spending my money? Am I spending it in terms of needs or wants? Am I spending too much on nice to haves? Then is just assessing your savings and investment strategy. Is it still appropriate for the type of economic and market circumstances and also for the goals you want to achieve? And I think then very important, and I think for people that's starting out young, it's not maybe that big an issue, but this issue about evaluating your debt. What is the kind of debt that you should or should not be getting into, and how much debt can you actually afford under different economic circumstances? And then I think also just important to revisit your financial goals. It's good to every now and again just go through it, see if you're still on track and what you need to do to maybe just enhance your probability of achieving success.
Yeah. Well, many people struggle though with the idea of working with a financial advisor versus managing their own finances. What are the benefits of each approach?
Yeah, this becomes a very personal thing. Managing your finances on your own can be extremely empowering, as it gives you complete control over your decisions, and it's a good option for those who are financially savvy and enjoy learning and managing investments, for example. But it can also be very time consuming, and to stay up to date and up to speed with what's happening in the financial services landscape and the markets can be very challenging. So on the other hand, working with a financial advisor, there's various benefits. They bring the expertise, the experience, and they're more objective. We are subjective. We sometimes too close to our own money decisions and get too emotionally involved. And they can provide personalized advice that is really tailored to your goals and your circumstances to help you avoid any pitfalls. And they can also keep you accountable because, you can't be the mark your own homework all the time. And I think ultimately the choice depends on your comfort level, your knowledge, and the complexity of your financial situation. But I'm one of those people that say, I believe in a financial advisor. I really think that paying a fee for that advice will save you a lot in the long term.
Right. You've mentioned the importance of understanding one's money personality. How does this understanding influence financial decisions, and how can one determine their money personality?
Yeah, and I think it comes back to the whole concept of personal finance. And I say personal finance is exactly it. It's very, very personal. So the same way is that we have different personalities just in terms of how we express ourselves out there when we interact in a social environment or in the workplace or at university or that. The same way we also have certain personality characteristics when it comes to our attributes and behaviors towards money. So, you could be a big saver, a spender, a risk taker, all of that. But I think the understanding is crucial because if you can understand better what your motivation is and how and where that motivation comes from, it also means, kind of like goes back to what money means for you. Then you will have a better understanding for why you are managing money in a certain way. To determine your money personality, you can just start thinking about your financial habits and attitudes. Now, in my book, I basically go into a very brief assessment of your personality type and then link it to how you typically what you should be aware of in terms of some of your stronger points or your stronger capabilities in terms of managing money, but where also some of your blind spots could be. So I think once you understand your money personality, you can also, you have the higher chances of also sticking to your strategy and playing to your strengths in how you manage your financial affairs.
All right. In case you have just walked in, this is Plug, a graduate, and in conversation with us is Johan Gouws, who's head of PPS Wealth Advisory. And today we are talking achieving financial security and living a purposeful life. Now, looking ahead, Johan, what are the key steps that listeners can take home today here to set themselves on a path to financial security and purposeful life?
I think, Obakeng, the first thing I want to say is that, for young people, you're in a great space. You've got the chance to start this journey with a clean slate, hopefully. Maybe you might have some study debt or whatever. But, you're at a point where you can, by starting to make small decisions and create and applying certain small habits in your life and creating those habits, in the long run, you can benefit from that. So I think the first thing is, for yourself, start thinking about your financial goals. Where do you want to end up in life from a financial perspective? Maybe as simple as one day I want to be able to retire financially secure, or there's certain specific things you want to be able to have a certain lifestyle, whatever. Then in order to get there, the first thing that you then have to do once you've decided kind of like where you would see yourself is then to create a budget. That's the fundamental thing that drives anything around finances, because a budget tells you where you are, it tells you what you can do, and it also tells you what you cannot do, maybe given your current financial situation. And you can use it as a check then every year, or how often you want to do it, to see if your situation is improving or deteriorating and what you need to do that. I think once you've created a budget, the next thing is to build an emergency fund. We spoke about it earlier. Life happens, some unforeseen or unexpected expenses that you need to cater for, that you can, so that you don't feel that financial pressure and then have to get into debt or anything like that, and avoid it. And then just for the long run, and specifically for the younger generation here, you've got time on your side. You can take a lot of investment risk, and time is a wonderful diversifier. So just make sure that the investment strategy speaks to your life stage, and that there's sufficient risk that you take to beat inflation. We heard today that inflation has come down nicely to 4.6%. But the fact is that is the biggest challenge for your wealth, is inflation. So have the right strategy. And I think last point is then, again, regularly just review your financial plan. See, based on your life stage and how things are developing in your personal circumstances, if you still have the right plan in place, and if you need to adjust your objectives or your investment strategy, for example.
When we come back from a quick break, we ask, what does your money mean to you? Johan will help us navigate that stage of our conversation. We're back right after this. Don't forget to check out our WhatsApp channel. It's like a graduate TUTFM to be able to hear as the conversation rolls. We do have Johan Gouws, who is on the line to us and now, and let's continue with the conversation here. Johan, I hope you are able to hear me. Let's get to this. When people are asked what money means to them, the answer can vary widely. What are some of the common interpretations, and why do you think people view money differently?
Well, Obakeng, I think money can symbolize a variety of things depending on one's values, your upbringing, and your life experiences, right? So for some, money might represent security and freedom, the ability to provide for themselves and their loved ones without worry. And for others, they may see money as a measure of success, or a way to achieve a certain status in society and get recognition for it. So there are also those who view money as a tool for creating opportunities and self-actualization, for example, by starting a new business venture or through education. And all these different interpretations of Obakeng are often shaped by your personal experiences, your cultural background, and even your generational elements that can influence that. And that will determine how people prioritize their financial goals and decisions, and how they spend their money.
How can understanding what money means to you personally help improve your financial decisions and overall relationship with money?
I think it's about trying to avoid certain blind spots, right? So we know that, what money means to you will drive, again, your behavior. Money itself does not have any power, but it's how we use money that gives it its power, right? And the motivation with which we spend that money. So understanding what money means to you can significantly enhance your financial decision making by aligning your actions with your core values and goals and the legacy that you want to leave. So for example, if money represents security to you, you might prioritize building an emergency fund and investing in stable assets. Conversely, if money means to experience life fully, you might just allocate more resources to travel or personal development or lifestyle type of expenses. And this self-awareness about what it means to you can just help you prevent some impulsive decisions driven by external events or circumstances. And it can help you to create a financial plan and stick to that plan for the long term for your well-being.
Yeah. Can your perception of money, though, change over time? And if so, what might trigger such a shift?
Yes, I believe we're all on a journey. There's always some changes that maybe, or things that comes across your path that maybe change the way in which you think and about things and look at things. So yes, your perception of money can definitely change, often responds to a major life event or shifts in priorities. I mean, we always talk about maybe something that's happened to us physically, maybe an illness, or maybe there was a crime incident or whatever, and how that can traumatize us. But financial events can also traumatize us, right? So I think, for example, someone who've once viewed money maybe as primarily as a means of achieving career success, might after starting a family begin to see it more as a tool for providing stability and a comfortable lifestyle for their children, right? Similarly, experiencing financial hardship might lead someone to appreciate money more for the security it offers rather than just for the material possessions that it can buy. So these shifts are natural, and it happens as part of life, and it can lead to a more mature and balanced approach to how you manage money. So we must just be open to change, sometimes in order, depending on what our circumstances are.
How do societal and cultural influences shape our understanding of what money means?
Very important, because a lot of the things that potentially influence our money behavior, we don't have any control over. We can't decide, necessarily what the economy or the political situation looks like. We can't decide necessarily into what generation we are born and the time of where we are in history, right? So I think societal and cultural influences play a significant role in shaping our perceptions of money. And in many cultures, money is often associated with power, success, maybe social status, or leading people to equate financial wealth with personal self-worth, and we need to clearly differentiate between what your financial wealth and your personal worth. So media, advertising, and social norms can definitely also reinforce the idea that more money equates to a better or more happy life, which is not always true. And pushing people to prioritize financial gain maybe over other values. So I think, in other cultures or communities, money might be viewed more as a means to support family and community, a little bit more Ubuntu, right? Emphasizing collective well-being and all of that. But these cultural narratives, Obakeng, definitely can influence the way you treat money and how you look at money very deeply.
How can understanding what money means to you help in setting and achieving financial goals?
Yeah, so when you understand what money means to you, it becomes easier to set your financial goals that are meaningful and motivating, because you will have better understanding of, why you are spending money in the way that you are. So, for example, if you see money as a way to achieve independence, your goals might include building a robust savings account, a tool of experience, or investing for the future and avoiding debt. And on the other hand, if you view money as a tool for experiences, you might prioritize savings for travel and other enriching activities. So this alignment between your values and your goals make it more likely that you will stay committed to your financial plan, as the goals reflect your true aspirations and what you consider most important in life.
Some people feel conflicted about money, seeing it as both a necessity and a source of stress. How can they reconcile these feelings to develop a healthier relationship with money?
Oh yes, sometimes we've got this conflicting kind of forces that we have to deal with, and then try and make, good decisions around money. But I think, reconciling conflicting feelings about money starts with acknowledging those feelings and exploring their origins. So we have to understand why we are feeling what we are feeling. And often
Yeah.
money-related stress stems from just deep-seated beliefs or fears, such as concerns about not having enough money or guilt over spending.
Mm.
By examining these emotions and understanding where they come from, whether from past experiences, family influences like relationships, societal pressures, you can
Mm.
start to address some of these issues constructively. I think setting clear, realistic financial goals and creating a plan to achieve them can also help to reduce anxiety, because now you feel that you are taking control and you're doing something about it.
Mm. Mm.
Gives you direction. But additionally, Obakeng, I think practicing gratitude for what money allows you to do rather than
Yeah.
focusing solely on what you lack can also
Mhm.
shift your mindset to a more healthier, more positive relationship with money.
Right. In your own opinion, Johan, can money contribute to happiness, and how does this relate to understanding what money means to you? I want to hold it there as we cross to the news, and we'll start from that particular point. I think this is a very, very important discussion. It has come to 8 o'clock. Is standing by with the news. Every Wednesday, it's Black a Graduate, and tonight we have Johan Gouws, who is head of PPS Wealth Advisory, and today we are talking achieving financial security and living a purposeful life. Before we took the news, Johan, I asked you, in your opinion, whether you think money can contribute to happiness, and how does this relate to understanding what money means to you?
Well, King, yeah, I believe money can definitely contribute to happiness. I don't think it will give you complete happiness. Money has its limits. It cannot buy you eternal comfort or peace or health. It's definitely something that you must understand where its power starts and where it stops. Right. So, but money,
Yeah.
its impact really depends largely on how it is used and what it represents to you. So research has shown us that money can enhance well-being when it is spent in ways that align with your personal values, such as on experiences, maybe personal growth or helping others. However, if money is purely or solely pursued for the sake of just accumulating as much as you can and buy as much things as you can and to compete with others, it can lead to stress,
Yeah.
dissatisfaction, and disillusionment, right?
Mhm.
And understanding what money means to you, again, helps you to use it in ways that genuinely contribute to your happiness by enabling you to live in accordance with your values while fulfilling your needs and pursuing your personal passions.
You mentioned that our financial journey begins the day we are born, influenced by our upbringing. How significant is the impact of our early environment on our financial behavior later in life, Johan?
Yeah, I think it's something that it's one of those subconscious things that we don't even really consider. How we were brought up influences our money behavior now that we are maybe young adults, and as we go through
Yeah.
life. So I think the impact of our early environment is profound and long lasting. We know that our personalities are pretty much formed by the time that we are 6 or 7, right? So the
Yeah.
attitudes, the habits, and beliefs we observe in our parents or caregivers, in their behavior during childhood, I think really sets the foundation for how we view and manage money as adults. For example, if you grow up in a household where money is always tight, you might develop a scarcity mindset or mentality, making you either very cautious when spending or conversely prone to impulsive purchases when you do have
Mm.
money because you can. On the
Yeah.
other hand, if your upbringing emphasized saving, investing, and just working with money in a responsible way, those principles are likely to guide your financial decisions throughout your life and maybe motivate you to have good behavior around money. And again,
Yeah.
understanding this influence is key to recognizing and potentially reshaping your financial behaviors that may not serve your long term goals.
Yeah. Why is it then important to start discussing money at a young age, and even before becoming economically active?
Well, I think starting your money discussions early in your life is crucial because it helps you demystify finances and some of the myths that there is about money. And I think it just
Yeah.
builds a good foundation for financial literacy. We don't I would love to see that our schools actually place more the kind of emphasis on financial literacy, if it's maybe a high school even. But I don't think the curriculum really spends enough time on it. When
Yeah.
children and teenagers learn about money earlier on, whether through discussions at the dinner table, maybe a small allowance, or observing their parents' financial habits, they begin to develop an understanding of concepts like saving, budgeting, and the difference between your needs and your wants. And these early lessons are invaluable as they will really equip young people with the knowledge and the attitudes needed to make informed and better financial decisions later in life when it really matters. And moreover, early exposure to financial conversations also helps normalize the topic. There's no more like secrecy or scaredness to discuss money matters with people that you trust. And it will just make you more confident as you grow older about, how you manage your personal finances.
How do the experiences of working part-time or saving during teenage years contribute to one's financial journey on?
Yeah, I think working part-time or saving during the teenage years gives you most probably a bit of a sense that you start understanding where money comes from. So you've got a little bit more appreciation that it's
Yeah.
not just something that you can pick off trees, right?
Yeah.
And I think these experiences teach you essential life skills such as responsibility, time management, and the value of hard work. And they also offer practical insights into how money is earned, which can instill a greater appreciation for what
Yeah.
money is. And then, additionally, by saving and possibly investing money earned from part-time jobs, teenagers, young adults can start to understand the concept of compound interest and delayed gratification, because the world at the moment is screaming at you saying, you deserve this, and you should
Yeah.
buy it now. And you can try and avoid those kind of traps that is fundamental to your ability to build wealth over the long term. And I think these early experiences not only help in developing a sense of financial independence, but it also again
Yeah.
lays
Yeah.
the foundation for future financial planning and goal setting.
Let's get to this one then. The roles that personal values and characters play in achieving financial goals, especially during those formative years, Johan.
Yeah, I mean, personal values and character are integral to achieving your financial goals, particularly during the formative years when these attributes are being developed, right? So,
Yeah.
values such as discipline, responsibility, stewardship, integrity directly influence your financial behavior, like how you spend, how you save, how you invest. So for example, a strong sense of responsibility can lead to prudent financial management, while discipline helps, to stick to a budget and resist impulsive purchases or the wants. Additionally,
Yeah.
character traits such as resilience and perseverance are crucial when facing financial challenges, because it will come. Life, again, is unpredictable. But by
Yeah.
cultivating these values early on, I think individuals are better equipped to make decisions that align with their financial objectives and the ability to overcome obstacles when they come along the way.
Yeah. How can understanding the difference between your needs and wants during your youth set the stage for financial success in adulthood then?
Yeah, so I think, understanding the difference between something you really need versus something you just want is
Yeah.
a fundamental aspect of financial literacy. And if you, as somebody that's still young, can grasp that, it can significantly contribute to your financial success later on in
Yeah.
life. Needs are essential for survival and well-being, like food or shelter or healthcare expenses, while wants are non-essential items, the luxuries or services that enhance comfort or pleasure and doesn't necessarily give you that lasting effect. And I think by learning to prioritize needs over wants early on, individuals can really develop a habit of living within their means, avoiding unnecessary debt, and focusing their financial resources on what truly matters, right? And this understanding also helps in setting realistic goals when it comes to the finances, creating effective budgets, and making informed spending decisions, all of which are critical for long-term financial sustainability and growth.
Yep. As young people start developing a sense of career they want to pursue, Johan, how should they align their financial goal with their career aspirations?
Yeah, I think, aligning your financial goals with your career aspirations is an important first step in creating a cohesive life plan. As young people begin to identify the career paths they want to pursue, or maybe, they find a little bit more clarity on the interest, they should consider how these choices will impact their financial goals. For instance, a career in certain fields might require significant upfront investments and education or training, which should be factored into the financial planning. It might also be that you're taking a job that doesn't pay much initially, but then later on in life will become more rewarding financially. But additionally, understanding also the potential income associated with different career paths can help you start to set realistic financial goals, such as how much to save, when to start investing, and what lifestyle is sustainable. By aligning these career aspirations then with your financial planning, young people can ensure that their professional and financial goals support each other, leading to a more fulfilling and financially secure future.
What are some of the practical steps then young people can take to build a strong financial base before they start earning a regular income?
Well, I think, Obakeng, the first thing is that young people can take several practical steps to build a strong financial base before even earning a regular income. First, I think they should focus on saving whatever money they receive, whether from allowances, gifts, or part-time jobs. And they should start creating that very healthy habit of putting it into a savings account or a low-risk investment, so start as early as possible. And then developing a basic understanding of budgeting is also essential, even with small amounts of money, as it sets the stage for managing larger sums later on, in that discipline, right? And setting short-term financial goals like saving for a specific purchase will also help instill discipline in the habit of planning. And then additionally, gaining basic financial literacy through reading, online resources, financial education programs, that can also help provide valuable knowledge that will serve them well when they start earning an income and give them some confidence in their money decisions. And I think finally, cultivating a healthy respect for money and its potential, as well as understanding the difference between needs and wants, are critical in laying the groundwork for future financial success.
Our guest tonight, Johan Gouws, is head of PPS Wealth Advisory, and tonight we are talking achieving financial security and living a purposeful life. When we come back from a quick break, we're talking your relationship and money. A purposeful life. Let's get to your relationships and money. And this is a very important one here, Johan. How do personal relationships influence our financial decisions, and why is it important to recognize these influences?
Well, Obakeng, none of us are living on an island all by ourselves. We are on a day-to-day basis involved with other people in our lives. So there's different relationships, be it your children, your parents, your spouse, partner. Personal relationships have a profound impact on our financial decisions because they often carry the emotional weight and involve expectations from both parties. For instance, how we spend our money can be influenced by our desire to maybe please a partner, support family members, or fit in with a specific social group. But I think important is that recognizing these influences is crucial because it allows us to understand the underlying motivations behind our financial behaviors and decisions. And when we are more aware of how our relationships shape our money decisions, we can make more intentional choices that align again with our personal values and our long-term goals, rather than just simply reacting to external pressures or our emotions.
Right. Elvin Hall seemed to make a very interesting suggestion here, Johan, suggesting that human relationships gives meaning to money. How do you interpret that statement, and what are the implications for our financial behaviors?
Yeah, so Alvin Hall is a personal finance guru in the US. And his statement really highlights the idea that money is not just a tool for transactions and not just for commercial means. It's also a means of expressing care, maybe support or connection in our relationships that we spoke about just now. I think, for example, spending money on a gift for a loved one or investing in a shared experience can be seen as a way of reinforcing the bond between individuals. And that creates other forms of wealth, because wealth is not just money, it's your health, it's your relationships. And this perspective implies that our financial behaviors are often intertwined with our emotional needs and the dynamics of our relationships. But I think, again, understanding this can help us approach money matters with greater empathy and thoughtfulness, ensuring that our financial decisions reflect the values and the priorities we hold in our personal and professional relationships.
Yeah, an important point, in fact, around professional relationships also playing a role here, Johan, in shaping our money decisions. Can you elaborate on how these relationships influence our financial behaviors?
Yeah, I think, professional relationships influence our financial behaviors in several ways. I think primarily through the expectations and norms of the workplace or industry that we are a part of. Now, for example, a mentor's advice on saving and investing can shape our financial strategy, while the culture of spending or saving within a company can affect our own financial habits. Additionally, the pursuit of career advancement might lead us to make certain financial sacrifices or investments, such as furthering our education or maybe relocating for another job opportunity. And these professional dynamics often require us to balance our immediate financial needs with the longer term career goals and aspirations. And it makes it important to understand how our work relationships impact, again, our overall financial well-being in the long term.
How can understanding then the emotional aspect of your relationships help you make better financial decisions?
I think understanding the emotional aspects of your relationships can greatly enhance your ability to make sound financial decisions. Emotions like love, guilt, or obligation can sometimes lead to financial choices that may not align with your long-term goals, such as overspending on a partner or lending money to a friend despite personal financial strain. I think by acknowledging these emotions and the influence, you can really approach your financial decisions more rationally. You can set boundaries where necessary, and you can ensure that your choices reflect your objectives and your relationship values again. And this awareness, again, helps in maintaining healthy relationships while also protecting your financial health.
Relationships are complex, are they not, and unique to each individual. Given this, how can someone navigate the financial aspects of their relationships to avoid conflict and ensure mutual understanding?
Yeah, I think for me, there's a few key elements. Navigating the financial aspects of relationships, I think, first of all, requires open communication. I think also trust, mutual respect, and then also a willingness to understand each other's perspectives on money, because we spoke about money personalities and people's money personalities and what money means to them might differ. And specifically in a relationship, right, it can become a source of friction. So it's important to have honest and open conversations about financial expectations, your priorities, maybe in a household, and then goals early in your relationship. So whether it being personal or professional. Now, I think establishing clear boundaries and agreements can also help prevent misunderstandings and conflicts and resentment down the road. And additionally, you can also say that recognizing that each person's financial background and the experiences are different allows maybe for more empathy and flexibility and how you manage money together. And I think by approaching financial discussions with openness, transparency, and with a collaborative mindset, individuals can build mutual understanding and make decisions that support both the relationship and their financial well-being. So it's not just about meeting the needs of the one person, As the one party, it's looking at both parties' needs, their wants, and seeing how you can find that balance.
There's an influx of questions here, Johan, from the listeners who are finding this particular discussion quite engaging, but we'll get to those in a moment. How can then someone maintain their financial independence while still being supportive in their relationships?
Yeah, I think maintaining financial independence, and balancing that with being supportive in relationships, I think involves really setting clear boundaries and practicing self-awareness. It's important to have a strong sense of your financial goals and your values, and then to communicate these with the people in your life. This might involve agreeing on shared financial responsibilities while also keeping some aspects of your finances separate, because there's also something like, your being in control of your own kind of finances. It could be things such as personal savings or investments that you put away. And I think being supportive doesn't mean sacrificing your financial security. Instead, really about finding that balance where you can contribute to the relationship without compromising your own financial well-being. And I think regularly reviewing your financial situation, discussing it openly with your partner so there's no surprises, can help maintain this balance and ensuring then that both parties feel respected and, very importantly, both feel secure.
Let me take some of the questions that are coming in here. Lesego Monare from Soshanguva Block L is asking, what are the most effective budgeting and expense tracking methods? And what should be her approach to debt management and debt reduction?
Yeah, okay. So I think, we the best way most probably, if I could just think of how somebody can help themselves, there are, if you go and search on the internet, you will most probably find various budgeting tools. I think the key thing I just want to say, Obakeng, is that you must try and keep it simple. Don't overthink this thing. Don't make it more complicated. Life is complicated enough. So maybe you can draw up for yourself your own personal your own Excel spreadsheet. That will just maybe require that you must make sure that you've got all your items covered in that spreadsheet. And that's why I would say, listen, I'm sure there's most of the financial service companies do have some form of a budgeting tool or something. It's for free, and you must just go and search. And then I think make sure then that you've got all your items covered in there, and then maybe just review it on an annual basis. When it comes to the situation of debt, there's three rules for me basically when it comes to debt. The first one is that you must first start paying off the most expensive form of debt. Now, that's typically credit cards. It's, the cards that you'll use at stores, maybe clothing cards or something like that. That's usually the kind of debt that's got the highest interest rate applied. So that's costing you a lot of money. So first start there, and then you start paying off your bigger ticket items like your car or your house. You start trying to pay that off a little bit sooner. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but it's powerful if you just pay off 300, 400 Rand a month more than what the installment is. It makes a huge difference in how much you save. And then finally, as you start reducing your debt and your cash flow becomes a little bit more positive, then you start investing more in savings, or you start investing your money or save your money so that it can grow on the other side.
Another question from Tabiseng, who is in Mabopane, is asking you here, Johan, to please repeat the answer on how one can align their financial goals with their personal values and life purpose.
Yeah, so I think, again, the first thing is that you need to determine for yourself. And this is actually having a very open and honest discussion with yourself in front of the mirror. Is to say, listen, what does money mean to me? Is it about status? Is it about self-actualization? Is it about security? And once you have been able to determine that, you must then decide, how can that potential meaning of what money have for you influence the way in which you think and then use money?
Yeah.
And ultimately that will help you to become a little bit more or be more in control of your money habits. And again, then just going back to what does money mean to you? What is it that you want to achieve with money? And just to bring those together. But I really think it's important that you have to be able to answer that question for yourself about what money means to you.
Maredi Sukoba from Temba in Hammanskraal also has a question. Patrick Sesheho from out in Limpopo also has a question. Out in Soshanguve, Pulalo Jr. has a question. So a flurry of questions that are coming in here. Johan, please stay on the line. We take a quick break. We revisit those when we return. We are edging closer and closer towards the end of the show, and our guest tonight is Johan Gouws, who's the head of PPS Wealth Advisory. Today we're talking achieving financial security and living a purposeful life. Let's get back to some of the questions that have been coming in. Moredi Sekoba from Tema in Hammanskraal. Johan is asking, how can you help her develop a comprehensive financial plan?
Obakeng, yeah. No, I think we can definitely be in contact with her if she's willing to share some of the details with us, with you through yourself. Maybe we can make contact, make sure that a financial advisor may contact her.
Yeah.
But I think again, it starts just with something as very basic as just a budget. And then we say from there on, what are the other needs, be it from an insurance perspective, maybe a will. The other very basic thing is just making sure that you've got a will in place. And then just a very basic savings or investments plan. And while we took the break now, I just had a look on the Old Mutual website. You go and you find a tab, tools and calculators, and there you'll find under that you'll find a very basic budget model. I've actually also included it on the chat here, but so that is available as I think just as a good point of departure.
Let's hope you answered them already. Patrick Sieho from Hamolepo out in Limpopo is asking, can you provide guidance on tax efficient investing and saving strategies?
Yes. So I think the first thing is there is what is called the tax-free savings account. It was introduced by government a few years ago to incentivize people to save more. And the incentive was to say, well, we will not tax the money, dividends tax, income tax. We will not tax the money that you put as savings into the tax-free savings account. Now, most of your financial service companies do have a tax-free savings account. You are allowed to invest up to 36,000 Rand per annum and a lifetime total value of 500,000. So every year you can put 36,000 Rand available if you've got that, and that money will grow in a tax-free manner, which is powerful because now you're not paying away some of that money, and your money can really grow every year through the form of interest or dividends tax or capital gains tax. So you can keep that. And the other major way of saving in a tax-friendly way is through a retirement annuity, because at the end of the tax year, you can actually claim back some of that money that you've saved in your retirement annuity, and they will look at your marginal tax rate and pay you back the marginal tax component of whatever you have paid into that retirement annuity up to an annual limit of 350,000 Rand.
Can you hear me now, Johan?
I can hear you. Sorry.
All right. Let's get now to the questions that are here. Polelo Jr. in Soshanguve Block H asking, what does philanthropy or charitable giving, what role does it play in achieving a fulfilling life?
Absolutely. It is, I think, very important. Gratitude is an important thing when it comes to having a healthy relationship with money. And I think by giving, charitable giving, philanthropy, and that it is recognizing what you have and what others do not have. And I think it's very powerful. It's a powerful way of kind of like, just staying in touch with the fact that you should be grateful for what you have. So I think that's very important in the long run. And it's part of again, it's part of building a legacy. What is that worth to you? What that's worth to you, you can't always measure in money. It gives you satisfaction, it gives you fulfillment, and that's happiness as well.
Another question from Amatla Charity, who's asking, how can she be best prepared for unexpected financial emergencies?
Yeah, I know it's something that we always say, and it's maybe not always that easy, but whatever money you do have, that you can have, that they do have extra, maybe at the end of the week or the month or whatever, you can put that away somewhere, in an investment that's not necessarily in your in your investment or bank account, because then it's too easy to actually access that money. If you can maybe somehow put it in a separate account, then build up that reserve, what we call the emergency fund. It should be something that should be available anytime. You can decide, for example, to just invest it in a 1 month deposit to get a slightly better interest rate, but or maybe just a part of it. But you should be able to access it at short notice. And the other thing is just make sure that wherever you put that money, just make sure that there's some interest at least that you earn, that the money is not just lying there and not working for you. But that's the best way to try and avoid situations where where you're then forced to get into debt, because I think that's the question here, is more, how can I avoid getting into debt under circumstances which I didn't see coming?
Two more questions trickling in. Johan, Mr. Moloto is asking what types of insurances and other protections should he consider for financial security?
Yeah, so there's various ones. It can be anything from what I think most people should have in place, and that's just life insurance. And the reason for that is that, maybe there's still debt that you have, and that life insurance can help to settle that debt so that your loved ones and the people, your beneficiaries, and the people that's dependent on you are not sitting with all of that debt. It's also maybe good to have that for your estate. Maybe if there's a situation where you need to cover the costs in your estate when it's wound up in the case of death. Then there's another basic one is income protection. For the day that something happens and you cannot work anymore and you cannot earn an income, that there is that kind of insurance, that at least there's some money that's coming in, and then just dreaded disease and all of that. So that's more of your life income protection and sickness benefits. On the other side, make sure that you've got short-term insurance on the most important things. I don't say that you need to cover all your personal assets, but as much as you can and for the right amount. Make sure that you don't over-insure yourself. Those are some of the really, and then the final one I would think is health insurance in the form of maybe a hospital plan or, a gap cover or something like that. Those are all the key insurances that you need to avoid huge, massive expenditures, if something disastrous happens.
Ismail Mashabela asking a more long-term question here. Johan asking, how should he approach saving and investing to ensure he has enough for retirement?
Yeah, so I think very important. Saving is money that you put away most probably for the short term. It could be that emergency fund. Investing is putting your money in investments that invest in the investment markets, the JSE, the offshore investment markets, bonds, whatever, that will give you a good return on your money. That is very important, that you should try and invest your money in a way where your money can work as long and as hard as possible. So again, depending on what is your time frame? The longer the time frame you have, the more risk you can take by investing more in equities and that, and also maybe more offshore. But make sure that you put your money in a space where you take sufficient risk so you can get good returns, so you can outperform inflation, and then build up a good nest egg one day for retirement.
I'd like to close off with this one, owing to time constraints, because I think this is a very important space to delve into as well, discovering your money personality. What does it mean to have a money personality, and why is it important to understand mine?
Well, it's just the set of money personality is just that set of unique attitudes, behaviors, and emotional responses you have towards money. So it encompasses how you save, spend, invest, and also you manage your financial risk. So I think just understanding your money personality is important because it influences every financial decision that you make. And just by recognizing your natural tendencies, the default mode, you can better tailor your financial strategies and make sure that you stick to them. And this self-awareness helps you to make more informed decisions, avoid common financial pitfalls, and ultimately achieve your financial goals a little bit more effectively.
All right, we close off with this one. How can identifying your money personality help in improving your financial habits?
Yeah, I think identifying your specific money personality allows you to maybe just gain more insight into the underlying motivations again behind your financial habits. So, for example, if you identify maybe as a spender, you might realize that your impulse to make purchases is often driven by emotional triggers rather than your actual needs. With this understanding, you can then start to implement strategies to curb unnecessary spending, setting stricter budget limits, or using a cooling off period before you make that purchase that you think you need to make. And then similarly, if you're a natural saver but struggle with investing, just recognizing this tendency can push you to seek advice or educate yourself on how to grow your money more effectively. And just ultimately knowing your money personality enables you to align again your financial habits with your long-term objectives.
I'm sure you'd be acutely aware, Johan, that we had barely scratched the surface. There's a lot to still delve into on this one. It's owing totally to time constraint that we have to end it here. But thank you so much for having spent time with us. Very, very valuable insights picked from there.
It was my privilege, Obakeng, and all the best to you and your listeners.
All right, Johan Gouws is, of course, the head of PPS Wealth Advisory, and today we were discussing achieving financial security and living a purposeful life. Let me take time and thank those who engaged on this particular show. Lesego Monare from Soshanguve, thank you so much. Ntabiseng from Abopane, Moredi Sekoba from Temba in Hammanskraal, Patrick Siego from Hamolepo in Limpopo, Pulelo Jr. from Soshanguve Block H, Amatle Charity, thank you so much as well for being part and parcel of the conversation. Mr. Moloto, thank you so much for touching base with the show as well. Ismail Mashabela, thank you as well to you. How do I forget the team? Tsepiso Kogane, pressing those buttons as he always does, accurately throughout the 2 hours. Thank you to Leseja Senosha. He has always been lively as well throughout the 2 hours. Thank you to Simply G behind those buttons and ensuring animated radio throughout the 2 hours. Thanks to Pulalo Madisa as well on the news desk. Thanks to you for taking time to listen. The producer is Kidiboni Eva Mahapa. Up next is Direi Masinya between 9 and 12. I'm Obakeng Moeketsi, and this has been another great edition of the GroundBreakers. Remember what I always say, you don't stop because you are tired, you stop because you are done. Good night.
The GroundBreakers, Mondays to Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. on TUTFM.